at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. My button is all the way over there. What is going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to the show. My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
You absolutely can, guys. My name is Brooke. You can find me at BrookMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. On the right to me is Doug. You know him as Doug. He's the face of the franchise, friend of the show, star of life. Doug, thanks for driving all the way
It's
from
a Mount
the west
Rushmore.
side.
We're all faces of the franchise, okay?
The Mount Rushmore.
Even Cody.
I like it. Guys, on today's show, we got a lot to talk about today. Dodgers are good, but Craig Kimbrel continues to be a big, fat, stupid question mark in the ninth inning. That's not talking about him personally, but
He's
we'll also talk about
decent
that.
shape.
He's in pretty good shape. He's got a man bun, but we don't have to talk about that. We'll talk about the near sweep over the San Diego Padres and their celebration of winning 1 of 4. Congratulations to them. Also, new look lineup. We're going to talk about that because we're pretty excited about it. Pretty sure we did that. You're welcome or you're sorry. I'm not really sure. And generally speaking, not necessarily a positive show. We're pretty realistic, I feel like.
What?
We're pretty realistic. Doug brings the positivity on the post-game show and on his own YouTube channel because he's basically our YouTube channel at this point. But we got 3 good things
Face
to
the
talk about.
franchise.
We're gonna point those things out to you. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna be excited. We're gonna be happy. It's gonna be a good time. You're gonna want to stick around for that because we don't get to be very happy very often.
We got an Anthony Keene in the stream saying, no, Eric. There was great debate before the show. Eric wanted to be on the show, but we DFA'd him. And he's going to the game tonight to get us bobblehead from CT3 or something like that.
Bobblehead.
He's on a mission.
Eric will be he'll be here. He's hosting Roundtable this week, so make sure you guys tune in on the youtube.com/DodgersNation TV. While you're on the internet, go ahead and hit that button there. Do a like, leave a comment. It really helps out our YouTube channel, and subscribe to us on the iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I decided it's time to start officially asking for reviews again on iTunes because we haven't done a good job of that in a while. We haven't gotten any new fun reviews that we enjoy reading for one of our exciting segments down the road.
They're fun. I enjoy them a lot. Make sure you guys drop in those reviews because we really want to see him. It makes us real happy. Say something nice about Doug, even though he's not on our show, and we'll know it's you.
Well, I mean, the Roundtable is also on our
Roundtable's on the show,
yeah.
too. Make sure you drop in, guys.
The
Don't forget
Roundtable in the
this.
mix?
You can drop in comments right now as we speak because this is a live show. We do this every single Monday, except when we do it on Tuesdays because 4th of July was yesterday, and I was busy not doing anything. So make sure you jump into the chat. Let us know where you're repping Dodgers Nation tonight. Dylan plays Roblox. Said this channel is boring and nobody cares about Minions. Dylan, when I come over to play Roblox with your mom, we'll have a little chat, all right?
Yes.
That's
all
how
I got
the new
to say about that.
that's how the new applause sounds, by the way.
That's kind of scary.
I like it.
It's
It's
still
a
going.
little
Still
more
going.
dynamic.
Dave Luna says, guys, who are our trade candidates? Also, credit to Brooke for Minions recommendation. 10 out of 10. I saw the Minions, as promised, July 1st. It was good. Yeah, it was really
I've
good.
heard great things about it.
Yeah.
Wait, Cody, have you seen Minions yet? I have not. Hold on. Here's Cody's voice for everybody.
I have not watched the Minions
Are
yet.
we gonna go see Minions together?
We should totally do it. As
right.
The
BN
resident
bonding.
child of the
Out of spite, I'm
workplace has not seen it.
gonna take my child Cody here. see
bonding,
the
baby.
Minions. We're gonna bond together. I will go to Minions before I end up going to a game with Eric, and it's completely accidental and incidental. We
It's
love you,
as
Eric.
Eric goes to the game right now.
Enjoy
Eric.
the game. Tell Dave we said, "Hey, Dave." He says he misses you, Anthony Keene.
There you go.
Moving on. This is that part where people start complaining about us having fun and being all inside jokes and whatever, which we are. So don't call us out like that. That's really rude. But a lot of Trace love I'm seeing. There seems some Trace Thompson love in the stream. You were leading the what they call it, the Marching and Chowder Society.
Me and my boy Trace Lamb Redemption Season 2022. We know what's going on with Trace Thompson. We knew it. We were there from day one. We're reaping the benefits and the rewards.
I was on the lamb chop.
We're not talking about. We're not talking
But
about that.
it was
right now.
Trace
We're
Lamb.
not
Listen,
the Trace Lamb. It is the name, and I understand that. However, very happy for Jake Lamb. Good cameo guy. If you guys are looking for a good cameo, go hit up Jake Lamb because apparently he does those. But happy for Trace Thompson.
That'd be a good guess at cameo price.
The best Thompson brother, in my opinion. By
Absolutely.
far.
Absolutely. It's only a matter of time that Clay's showing up to events and he's introduced as Trace's brother. That's happening. I'm pretty sure that's in the works.
I love it. And he doesn't have to wear a headband.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
guys, let us know how the audio sounds, by the way. We're running a new board, so everything sounds a little different to us. But if we sound good, cool. That was for you guys in the comments below. I had to burp, so I burped. Let's get into it, guys. The Dodgers take 3 of 4 from the Padres. Should have been a sweep. Could have been a sweep. We'll get into the why in a minute, but in convincing fashion, they take this series. Outscored the Padres. What was it? 12-3, I think was the number either you or Eric gave me.
12-3.
12-3. That was, of course, before the 9th inning of Sunday's game. Of course, in this game, you get 27 outs. Craig Kimbrel said, F your couch. We're going to get into him more in a minute. Don't spill your beer. First, highlights from the series. Once again, Tony Great wins his 10th game of the year.
Wins
matter. Make wins matter again. Kershaw, great.
Why do we
Great
have a shirt
rebound.
that says wins matter?
I don't know. We don't do shirts anymore, really.
Yeah, we don't really do shirts anymore.
Cody, you want to make us graphic? You want to become a graphic designer? It also pays. Kershaw, great though. I mean, to see that after that clunker where he was really down on himself in Colorado, it was great to see Kershaw come out and shove for 7 innings.
Absolutely. I mean, the command was back, the slider, he had the feel for it again. And to me, it just proves that it was a Coors casualty, and that's all it was, still working his way back from that injury. But yeah, he looked dominant at times. He looked comfortable out there on the mound. And I think that he's continuing to make his case that, hey, he should be deserving of a big-time consideration for that all-star spot. But I think Kershaw was a big highlight.
Yep.
Also, you look at the fact that you got Mitch White going against Joe Musgrove, and Joe Musgrove saying that Justin Turner wasn't a huge threat, and he proceeds to hit 2 bombs off of him. And this is just this Joe Musgrove guy that he's always talking smack. He's always saying the wrong thing against the Dodgers.
What is it with the Padres and always trying to still create the billboard or the bulletin board material, which isn't a thing anymore? It's 2022, but why do they keep doing this? Like,
Yeah.
just play
Joe
your game,
Musgrove was
dog.
out there saying that remember last year, that the Padres wanted more than the Dodgers.
Yeah.
What happened? They collapsed. He also thought that, he was a little salty that the Dodgers ended up with Max Scherzer. Shout out to Ken Rosenthal for the best baseball tweet of last season. So I do think that the Dodgers are definitely in the Padres' heads at this point. When you look at the success they've had against them since the start of next
They've
season.
won 13 of the last 15 now. I think the Dodgers have something like
13
that.
of the last 15. They've gone 17-9 since the start of last year. And remember last year early on, we were saying, this is going to be the first time since 2010 that they lose the season series. But hey, look, they got the game Sunday. I hope you enjoyed your parade. But hey, I think they have to worry about this Dodger team that really has an opportunity here with the Giants and the Padres starting to flail a little bit to build a nice cushion heading into the All-Star break.
I enjoy some trash talking. That's a fun part of sports. However, you probably shouldn't talk shit on a dude who's hitting over 400 against you. And Justin Turner is one of the more respected veterans of the league in the game. Not having a great year, but has notoriously or historically been fine since joining the Dodgers. And Musgrove was out here saying that he's not really a threat and he's hitting 417 against you in your career. Maybe note the facts.
And I'm telling you, he definitely takes it personal when he goes against those trash throws. You saw that home run he hit off of Charlie Morton in the 2020 World Series. He always has that in the back of his mind. And look, Justin Turner has really turned it around in the last couple of weeks. He's really starting to lock in. He's got the rhythm at the plate. If you look at his numbers, that's kind of we were talking about the lineup change. One of the big reasons for that was the fact that you had Muncy and Turner kind of struggling in the middle of that order. But if he can get it going, and this can kind of ignite him, this whole just Joe Musgrove game going to, obviously he didn't know that what he was thinking when he was on the mound, but I think after the game, there's no question about it. The fact that he's a guy that always kind of plays with a chip on his shoulder. Like, I'm not washed. Stop throwing dirt on my grave. I still have some more baseball left in the tank, and I think it's great to see him getting it going.
Speaking of washed, but not really, Robert Wilson here on our YouTube says, Manny is terrible. 2 for 13 with 8 Ks goes Manny Machado, who drove his ass to L.A. from Arizona so his ankle doesn't get it all inflamed on him. Is he what's the deal with Manny and the Dodgers now? Because like he remember he was hustling against the boys in blue, and now all of a sudden he has not really been there.
I will say I think that the ankle probably hampered him a little bit. I'll give him enough credit on that one. I don't think he deserves it, but I'm going to give it to him. So I'm going to, MVP type of season. He shouldn't look like that against this team. He shouldn't look like that against any team. I do really, really enjoy though his lack of success. I mean, he's got 3 hits off of Brewstar, all singles. But when Bruzdar and Manny face off in a big spot, it seems like almost every time Bruzdar punches his ass out. And I just love it so much, especially when he does it to end an inning and he gets to do his little chest pound and point. And it's just so beautiful. My little son Brewster just getting done. So fun. I also really enjoyed all the warm welcomes from Dodgers fans for Manny Machado. I'm not like a big Manny Machado hater or anything like that. I don't really have anything against him personally. He went and got paid. Good for him. Didn't super love him when he was in LA, but also like without him, we don't make it to the playoffs that year, let alone all the way through. That being said, he sucked and it was great.
It was pretty great.
I have a theory on that. I think that when he plays the Dodgers, he's always a little afraid that Moshe is going to come out of nowhere and say, show me the Manny, and want and demand that $300 million paycheck, because we know that he's still on the hook for it and he has to pay him for it. But look, Manny Machado, he's a guy that he's a great villain to have in the game. I am disappointed that Bruzdar didn't blow him a kiss like we saw in the NLDS. But yeah, it was great to see him struggle. But you got to give him a lot of credit for just being in that game, want to play and want to perform in that game. While Fernando Tatis Jr., he's a part-time stuntman at this point in his career. So
the series is more fun when he's in there. It's definitely more fun.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
And we still haven't seen these two teams at their biggest strong points, because they don't have Tatis. The Dodgers don't have Andrew Heaney, their best pitcher. A couple of injured teams. They have a whole lot of baseball left to play for the end of, really into September. There's a lot of baseball still to be played between these two teams. For the folks who are just joining us on Facebook, sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but we are back up now on the Facebook. We were talking about how good Tony was, how good Kershaw was over the weekend against Padres, how bad Manny was against Padres. But another good thing, Mookie Betts returns earlier than expected. I said last week on the roundtable, I honestly did not expect to see Mookie Betts until All-Star break or just after. And, these ribs decide to heal quicker. And then, this is the biggest head scratcher to me, and we don't need to talk too much about it, but why did either he go or Dino send him in that play going home? Whatever. It's a bad look. He's still recovering from a rib injury. And you're going to go send him?
Doc also said, he's like, hey, it's still broken. I mean, it's just all about pain management now. And anybody who's had a cracked rib knows that sucker don't go away for
I've had a
while.
McRib.
What month did those come out
I
in, by
don't
the
know.
way?
Let us
Same
know.
month as the Minions?
Let us know in the comments below. By the way, I see Nando 390 in the stream, and earlier he said, stop DMing his mom.
She's a nice lady, She's just, if she would stop reaching out, I wouldn't. But Mr. Roblox guy, coming for that ass.
Big fan of the show. So, you having trouble there, Chief?
Doug broke the chair.
Stop leaning. Oh, I love midget Doug right here. We got tiny
Doug.
Darth Mexican says November is when it happens. Robert Wilson blown my mind here, saying Dave Roberts is a good manager. We don't get positive Dave
Hold the
comments
phone. When I get one of those, I play all
Yeah.
the sounds I have. Confetti comes out of the sky. I start popping champagne. It gets crazy, because when we get one of those, they're few and far between.
One of the other things, though, of course, that happened with this series is Craig Kimbrel. Craig Crumble, as we've seen, he had a wild ride on Sunday afternoon. Listen, he was looking good. He actually looked like he knew where the pitches were going, which was kind of interesting to see from Craig Kimbrel. But then things sort of changed. He decided to strike out Manny and then take a line drive 100-mile-an-hour off his back and then still try to stay in there. And, he was dotting the ball, and then he lost it. He just missed that play. Then Luke Voigt just misses going bomb on him, and then the whole world kind of shits out on him. But I wanted to talk about this. On paper, it's been a very strange season for Craig Crumble, because there are some numbers that say this dude is bad. There are some numbers who say this dude should be a lot better. What are your thoughts on that? 4.78 ERA. He's got a shit ERA. He's striking dudes out. He's walking everybody. He's not serving up homers.
That's the thing. Some of his peripherals don't play into the fact that he's walking too many guys, and that's a problem that I have with him. There's just something about him that just doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? It's not even necessarily that there's the blown saves. It's not even necessarily that he's giving up runs and losing games and things like that. It's not even that. It's just the fact that there's just a feel to it. And you guys are very familiar with it. But when you have a 4.15 BABIP, things are not going to go well for you. And when you see that number, that tells you one of two things: either bad luck, or you're just throwing fastballs that are falling in or something like that. But it's not even so much that they're just falling in. He's getting hit kind of hard. I mean, over his last 15 starts has like a +6 ERA or something like that, which over his worst span before that is even worse somehow, which is really odd. But it seems like the more he gets into it, the more he struggles, the more he can't find it, the more he's going back to that well and going to that fastball. And if you're pumping 98 straight,
Yeah,
it's not as good as 92 cutting.
It does not have very much movement.
Kenley was a 92 cut at the at certain points during his Dodgers tenure. It was a 92 cut. Kimbrel is a 97 to 98 to 99 straight, and that's a lot easier to hit, a lot easier to see coming. Of course, he can mix in that breaking ball, I think, a lot better than Kenley can. But when he's not finding it this year, when he's having trouble with it, it's getting real bad. And he's just hucking that fastball up there. And it's proving to not work against some pretty bad hitters at times, honestly.
Yeah, you're at a point 100% where you don't feel comfortable with him coming in 1-run lead, maybe even a 2-run lead. This guy needs a 5-run lead to feel comfortable, even though the numbers say, like, fielding, FIP loves him. He's one of the lower FIPs in the league of 197.
FIP loves him.
He's getting his saves. Somehow has only blown 3 saves despite all of the vitriol about him.
All 3 saves have been in the last 15 games.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of those saves too, I mean, when Chavis scored against the Pirates, what happened? You had the air with Freddie Freeman. Yesterday, like you mentioned, he gets hit in the back with that 100-mile-per-hour pitch. And before that, I mean, he was filthy. He was nasty, and this stuff looked really good. But there's some things you point to when you talk about average exit velocity, not missing barrels. And the whip percentage is there, but the chase rate isn't. So when it comes to Craig Kimbrel, it's not like he's missing bats in the zone. When you figure him out as a pitcher, he goes out there, and if he's not hitting that breaking ball at the bottom of the zone, if he's not, like our friend Dontrell says, stay low and stay in the game, so it's like live low and live long. That's what he says. And when Craig Kimbrel, he doesn't really do that at the moment. So I think that there are some numbers that are very encouraging where they'll tell you, hey, let's just stay the course here, right? But like you said too, he just makes you feel very uncomfortable out there. I feel like the Jordan Peele gif where I'm like sweating versus like I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel how it feels like when you put on your sneakers after you're wearing your bowling shoes. That nice, comfortable feeling. It just doesn't feel like that with cardiac Kimbrel.
You guys to see Doug bowling on
one bowling game. Yeah, so I wouldn't throw out a bowling game. But
the problem is there's no other options
right now,
and we'll get into that about in the good. There is some good in a notoriously negative show. There is some good coming up for Dodgers and Dodgers fans. But Doug, I wanted to ask you as we get into like roundtable feel here. If you could straight up swap right now, if you had a magic lamp and you could rub it and a genie comes out and you're able to switch Craig Kimbrel for Kenley Jansen straight up right now, would you do it?
I mean, the walk-up song is so much better in my opinion, but the walkout song. But other than that, I do think that, Kenley, look at the game against the Dodgers where he blows the save. And when I say about Kenley Jansen, some of his stuff is really playing up. I mean, his stuff wasn't just touching 97. He was like sitting at 97 during that series. I mean, the velocity, but at the same token, there are some encouraging signs, too, when it comes to Craig Kimbrel. Like we said, you mentioned just 3 blown saves. In all of those blown saves, he's had some issues that really are out of his control. But the reality is he's just allowing too much hard contact. And I think with Craig Kimbrel, unless he can get that velocity to trend in the right direction, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be an early trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, if he's closing out games for the Dodgers late in October. And I think that when you talk about the other options, the other thing, too, is Andrew Friedman has shown us that he does not want to give up a lot as when it comes to prospect capital for a high leverage reliever. You see the Cingranis, the Madsons, a.k.a. Dan Patrick. You see some of those guys out there.
We talked about that last week. Like every time there's been they've traded for somebody with some sort of track record, it's bit them hard. But that's because they traded away dudes like Jordan Alvarez, who they knew nothing about, and they traded away O'Neal Cruz, who they knew nothing about.
That's going to happen.
That's true, but there's just no. I mean, the thing when you talk about Bednars, guys like that are under team control for multiple years, the prospect haul to get a guy like that versus using that to get a starting pitcher, I think Friedman and Gomes, they understand value. They'd rather pay more for a mansion than overpay for a condo, right? They understand the value of this, and I think when you talk about the encouraging fact that Blake Trinan, it does appear that he's going to come back, and if he can come back and he can possibly be a guy that he can get saves every now and then. But at the same token, what do you do? What does that mean for Craig Kimbrel's role? We know the role he wants. He's a guy 386 career saves. He's pretty much 80 saves away from being a Hall of Famer. So I think Craig Kimbrel, it's tough, but it's been worse. Like I said, you don't have a tremendous decline in velo. The K percentage is still elite. He's in the 89th percentile in whip percentage, 87th percentile in expected batting average. So there's a lot of encouraging numbers, but I think there's something to be said about the feel out there. He just hasn't gotten comfortable as the Dodgers closer yet.
And I mean, that part of that probably comes from the odd role change from the Cubs to the White Sox last year. But at some point, you got to just start getting it done. The ninth inning is going to continue to be a struggle for these Dodgers, especially after, I mean, you've lost Blake Trinan for all but 3 games of this season so far. Dan Herron, you will not see again this season. There are some issues. There are some struggles for sure. But like you already alluded to, and like we talked about last week, and like we're going to talk about again in a little bit, there are some options. There's some stuff coming ahead. There are some dudes coming at you real quick. If you could just find a way to stay alive for the next month.
We've talked about it a lot. Just stay alive, stay afloat for the next month. It's funny because we're talking about a team that's 21 games over 500 or something like that, and we're talking about them like they are fighting, scratching, clawing for like a 10th seed in basketball. Like that's what it feels like when you're talking about them sometimes. But you're talking about a team that's 50 and 29 and it's in 5 games above the Padres.
So they don't have to be desperate.
MF4 on the YouTube right now that said we should be like 45 and 15 right now. But still, what you're saying, we're right there. It's already
baseball's going to baseball though. You're going to lose.
Oh wait, 45 and 15. That's the other way. We have like 15 wins.
I read that. I do want to say though, when it comes to Kimbrel, it was 1 strike away from getting to 2 outs and 1 save away from his 3rd consecutive clean inning, his clean appearance. So he was really looking like he was about to turn the corner. Yeah. So I still want to stay the course. I'm not going to be Craigslist Craig just yet. Okay, I'm not going to put Craig on Craigslist. I do still think there's still some hope because you're not going to transition him to that setup role that he had last year with the White Sox where he failed so much. Okay,
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, my friend.
He also got hosed on that call on Hosmer at the end there, so
they were calling that strike the whole game.
Whole game,
the whole game.
Yeah, it had the corner. It wasn't just off the corner.
No, absolutely.
There's definitely some bad luck in there.
He's got some bad calls this year. I don't know the exact numbers on that, but
Carnivorous Lunar Activity says Doug D-Mac always the optimist, and that's what he do best.
Michelada half full, baby.
He's still high on Russell Westbrook over there. But all in all, you got to be happy about taking 3 of 4 from the Padres. The little brother comes in. They get beat handily, save for 1 inning against an up and down closer, and it took some, I don't know, like more bad luck. He got hit. The ball, like Gavin Lux didn't read that well. Anyways, enough about that. Let's I'm bored of talking about it. Clayton Lockhart in the stream said, "What to do, Dodgers Nation? Just smash that like button. We appreciate you. Anybody who's on here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit a thumb, leave a comment. We'll read it. Maybe we'll try to. We'll do our best. We know so many words.
You think Kimbrel's closer when the season's over? Last pitch of the season.
I mean, the regular season? Yes.
Last pitch of the playoffs.
Of the year? No, I do not.
Mr. Blockay.
Who?
Mr. Blockay. Blake. Oh. This guy doesn't watch BLA.
No, it's going to be Dustin
Balake.
May. It's going to be Dustin May.
Dustin May's going to be a starting pitcher. You're out of your gourd.
No. Not by the last game of the postseason. No, by the last game of the year.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be a forwarding piggyback playoff starter.
Sounds like we got a bet.
Tony Gonslin. Because
$15,000 bet.
Tony Gonsolin is not going to be able to start full games by the time the postseason rolls around. Dude, every start Tony has is the most innings he's ever thrown in his career. Mm-hmm. And we're in July.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I said
there's going to be a Danny Duffy, though.
No, there's not.
There's going to be some Andrew Friedman trade as well.
And by the way, all these pitchers look great on
back from the store, but we're still not there.
There's going to be a Heaney.
Yeah. No, all these pitchers look so good on their Instagram rehab. Like Duffy throwing 93 in some random place at a high school. It's like, come on now. Let's wait until we see it in a game. But
it's like the calculator radar, you know? Where
yeah,
it's
exactly. Exactly. The calculator radar.
This one says he threw boobies.
Oh, yeah. I feel there.
Anthony Keene said, I need proof that Danny Duffy is a real person. Hold on, I got a button for that. It's so, it's like.
He's a myth.
What else? I also got this button. Thank you.
You have crickets?
John wants us to take a birthday shot.
John, we took a birthday shot on the Instagram live session. And if you were there for it, which you can be 5 minutes before every Blue Heaven podcast.
5-ish. Well, we're not
5-ish.
We're not behind
Easy
schedule.
shot.
But that shot was posthumously in your honor.
Posthumously.
Humanously. Post-anonymously. See, we did take shots.
I remember my first beer.
I don't.
I dribbled. Guys.
Darth Mexican, real quick before we move on, makes a good point, and this is something that we've talked about a lot. No need to trade for a reliever. May, Canely, Trinan, all back by September. Like I said, we're in a very good position as long as we can maintain for the next month plus. Probably month, because we're going to get some guys back pretty soon here.
Yeah, help.
The reinforcements are on the way. There are some dudes that are coming, and then I think that with this, what Friedman would rather do is add a starter and kind of push guys back.
cut.
But I think that, I think you're absolutely right, especially with Dustin May. I mean, I saw Dustin May with my own eyes on the field at Dodger Stadium, and before that, I was saying I want to see him as a closer. But he's nasty. I mean, he's pumping 100, and it's so tantalizing to see what he can do on the mound. I think Dustin Mania is going to be back, and I think you just can feel around the organization kind of they have a serious role for him, and they really think that he's almost that X factor, that secret weapon in the second half of the season. So there's definitely reinforcements on the way. I think the big wild card, like you said, Danny Duffy, but Canely I kind of have questions about.
Yeah.
I have questions about Blake Trinan when he comes back. Losing Daniel Hudson was a massive blow. So there are a lot of question marks. Then also, you mentioned it yourself. How about Tony Gonslin? Every time he makes a start, he's setting a new career high with innings pitched. Will he hold up?
He's good. He's got this.
What do you mean? Based off of what? What scientific data? What tells you he's good?
Lack of precedence.
He pitched in college.
You want to know?
Converted outfielder.
Converted out. I mean,
You want to know
a
what
lot
it
of
is?
tread on the tires.
He is a
doing what?
forward-thinking pitcher. He understands arm care very well, and I think he has a good feel for where his body is.
You and
at.
I both know, though, the split finger fastball is a stressful pitch compared to any other pitch. I mean, sliders are obviously a whole nother animal.
I mean, a
but
splitter
compared to a
isn't a
fastball,
forkball, though. You're not as in it. It's not as much
it's
on
more
the
stressful
forearm.
than a four-seam fastball, though.
Well, yeah.
Yes, and
But
he's
when
not,
when you're using that sick, nasty splitter to get outs and throw fewer four-seam fastballs, I'm just saying.
okay, well, what I'm saying is, though, he's still, like, every single time he goes out, it doesn't seem like, he just had his career high in pitches. Like, it seems like that every time. And
what do we see last year?
To Dave's credit, that's pretty cool that he's letting his guys run. He's letting his dogs eat, and he kind of doesn't have a choice right now. But like you said, what did we see last year? Walker Buehler died at the end of the season.
Yep.
Julio kind of died at the end of the season. All these dudes who have not had the experience, have not had the track record of going deep into a big league season are being run into the ground, and they are not being useful for the postseason. And then you have a guy like Max Scherzer who has to come in Game 5 and is spent for the rest of the playoffs.
They chose that path.
They chose
and
that.
it bit them in the ass hard.
Bad choices. It would be a bad choice to just ride Tony until he dies.
When it's uncharted waters, you just don't know. And with Tony
Exactly.
Gonsolin, he's having a great season. We talk about the way his workload as it stands. This is not a luxury. It's a necessity that he's going out there. I mean, he pitched in the 8th inning for the first time in his career. So they need him to go out there and eat innings and pitch like an ace, which he has all season long. But look what we saw with Hyun-Jin Ryu in 2019. I mean, he was in the Cy Young mix, then he started to fade. So you just really never know.
That's how it is. 162 games is a long-ass season.
It's an absolutely long season, but I do personally believe that there are way too many. I feel like there's a lot more questions than most Dodger fans realize when it comes to starting rotation. Whereas you get past that August 2nd deadline and you don't have that frontline guy, and let's say someone happens a Kershaw or Gonsolin runs out of gas or Tyler Anderson starts to fade. I mean, I think that you're going to want a guy that can go in there and dominate. Because I mean, can you imagine facing this Yankees lineup? And you don't have your rotation right in the World Series, or this Trastros lineup that really, they're catching up to the Yankees, and they have the easiest schedule in all of Major League Baseball in the second half of the season. So I think it could be a collision course between the Dodgers and the Trastros. You talk about Yordan Alvarez and some of these hitters they have over there. I think that, to me, the assets would be traded for a starter. But, I think Tony Gonsolin, look, just keep riding this. And he's a guy that's put himself in a great position physically. We saw last year, the shoulder injury wasn't the same guy. The velo was down, the command was down. And I think that what he's learned from Clayton Kershaw and how to use that breaking ball to stay in games longer, that's the difference.
I think Tony is finally that dude that I wouldn't say prototypical dude, but he's the guy that the Dodgers have been wanting to have learned from. Hey, look, he spent time with Max Scherzer. He spent time with Clayton Kershaw. He has spent times with people who are old school mindset, new school mindset, understand their body. He's one of those dudes, he brings out the plyo balls. He does the measurements and things. Like, he's also an older dude. He's not, Walker and Julio were both much younger than Tony is now last year, as they had their most difficult seasons.
But you're arguing against yourself on that one too, though. He is an older guy.
Yeah, because older is better or something. It's like a fine whiskey.
Yeah, but he didn't also. I mean, again, you go back to college. He didn't grow up hucking innings, just like
Which means he's got a whole lot left in that tank.
or it means that he's not built up like that. Alternatively,
faith.
Years and years.
I got
The
faith.
fibers.
I got
I'm
faith in
telling you.
Anthony
Fibers.
Gonsolin.
I'm telling
Anthony
you.
Gonsolin is going to run through the season. He's going to be fine through the postseason. And then we're going to worry about him in
we are a
2023.
month away from Tony Gonsolin piggyback starts. A month away. Absolutely, we are. And it's smart. It's really smart because you're going to want that guy fresh for the playoffs. Right now, Tony Gonsolin is easily your best pitcher. No disrespect to Julio whatsoever. The dude does not get any GD run support. Feel for him. Comes through even when he's not feeling his stuff and just finds a way and just,
Grinds.
Julio is going to get a fat contract and he rightfully deserves one. But
Let us know who's right in the comments here. It's gonna
Tony
be
Gonsolin is going to be a guy that you're going to need fresh for the playoffs. They're not going to bump him to the bullpen. He's not going to be that guy this time around. He's not going to have an undefined role
Yeah.
and have to wake up in the morning at a hotel in Atlanta in the NLCS and be like, what am I doing today? It's not going to be that. He is going to be the guy.
Luckily, as of right now, they're not. The Dodgers are not chasing somebody for that number one spot in the NL West. They're not going for a 10th straight.
If they can put a gap between them and whoever's in second place by
That's what
September,
screwed us last year, chasing the Giants.
it would be huge for us to be like, hey, Tony, sit down for the last month of the season, throw bullpens, get in there for 3-inning games, whatever it might be, whatever you got to do to keep him fresh and still also in the groove of things. It's going to be huge. Also, you get a chance to put Dustin May in there, see what he can do. You can put him in a closing role. You could put him in a bullpen role. You could have him start games, piggyback guys, whatever you want to do. Getting that space between you, that cushion, is going to be huge for this team, and we're going to need it. Danny Duffy probably starting a lot of games that month. We'll see.
But it's while you talk about the way they're going to manage Tony Gonsolin. Like, what can this guy do? Just be like, hey, can I go out there every fifth day? 2020, he
It's
missed
taken
16
him how many
days.
years, though, to do that?
But I also think he has to prove he can get done in the postseason. A 9.45 ERA in the postseason. But he's
got to be
attacking
given that
the,
chance first.
Yeah, as long as he attacks the zone, that split change, man. I've watched baseball till my eyes bleed. That's a special pitch, man. It really is a special pitch.
Huge pitch.
Looks like a fastball.
And to
dies.
throw it, he's the big thing with him right now. He's got 4 legitimate pitches that he can spot,
Absolutely.
and that's what's putting him on a different level this year. And
The
he should
curveball to
be.
lefties this year, the slider to righties, the mix, and the cat is becoming a lion too with the confidence on the mound. I mean, you're seeing him say, shake off Dave Roberts. He didn't have that confidence a year ago.
No.
Oh,
did
I was
not.
just talking to someone
did
about
not.
this earlier, by the way.
Go
and
back in his litter box.
I hate saying that. Like, I am literally talking to people about this. I talked to Stan, on the way over
Stan
here.
Kasten.
Yes. The thing I love about Anthony right now is the swag. He is the swag Daddy McGee right now. He's got some pop. He's got some pep in his step, and his name ain't Ryan. He looks good coming off the bump.
The little strikeout and then
Yeah.
kind of strut off the mound.
Yeah, he's got the strut. He's got the swagger. The shoulders are swinging low. He's feeling loose. He's locked in, man.
He is the cat daddy right now.
He is the cat daddy of them all. We love you, Mr. Anthony Gonslin.
We made that guy.
We made that man by playing stupid games with him online in the past. We're already essentially talking a couple segments ahead about 3 good things with the Dodgers. One of them is Tony Gonsolin. All right, we already talked about the Kershaw side of it. Maybe Kershaw probably, based on respect and blah blah blah, should start the All-Star game. But no, Tony Gonsolin's got to be this All-Star game starter. I think he's officially earned it after that last one. He's 10-0,
Yep.
leads the league in ERA. Even he goes out and throws a stinker. Brian Snitker is a guy who respects the game, respects the numbers, but he also respects the legacy and lineage.
There's a lot to it. I've told you this, guys. I've told you this before. It would be cool to see Clayton Kershaw start the All-Star game. I believe his only All-Star game start, it would be in Los Angeles in front of his own crowd. All those things makes you feel good, makes you love. All-Star game has been that for moments before it's an exhibition game, it does not technically matter except if you're getting paid, in which case I have a problem with that. However, Tony Gonslin deserves it. And my
100%.
favorite thing is the people who are like, he is at his innings limit. We can't afford to throw him in the All-Star game. And I'm like, really? One inning in the All-Star game in a game that doesn't really matter? Is that really going to hurt your chances? I mean, I guess it's the same people that say like the home run derby breaks your swing, which Cody Bellinger proved that, I think, pretty sure. But absolutely, Tony deserves it. There's nobody else in the league who deserves that start more. Obviously, there's guys like Sandy Alcantara who are just pitching out of his mind. He's getting the old school workload. That guy's going to probably be done by the end of the season because he's just eating up all the innings. You got Corbin Burns, who's carving dudes up at a historic rate in terms of strikeouts. Tony's not that guy. He's not the many innings guy, but he's going to get the job done. He's going to win you games. He's going to make sure that he's ready for his next start, and that's why I think he deserves it. I don't think there's anybody else that deserves it more.
I mean, look, the last 15 starters to lead their league in wins and ERA at the break, they've started the All-Star game. They've gotten the ball.
Yep.
They've taken the mound. Look at Hyun-Jin Ryu in 2019.
Wins, baby.
Wins, Schmins. I mean, I don't want to go down
Wins
that rabbit
matter.
hole. But that's the reality. Is he's most likely going to get the ball. But if you look at Sandy Alcantara, 7.21 innings per start, a 1.95 ERA, leads the NL in expected ERA. He's recorded over 100 more outs than Tony Gonsolin, 115 in a third innings pitch. You mentioned Corbin Burns. He leads the NL with 124 strikeouts.
Why should that be held against Tony, though?
It shouldn't be held against it, but if we're saying so has Tony Gonsolin been the best pitcher in the National League? If you look at ERA, absolutely. WHIP, even a WHIP 820, opponents batting average, opponents OPS, he's first, a 3.5 B-WAR. But let's just be honest. I mean, Sandy Alcantara is another guy that deserves consideration. Same with Fried, same with Corbin Burns. And if you're going to play that game and you want to say, oh, look, the kicker is the fact that the All-Star game is going to be played at Dodger Stadium, maybe you do give it to the great Catsby. And I would love to see him pitch in that game. It's going to be fantastic to see how far he's came as a pitcher when you consider the fact that everyone was saying he's washed. Everyone thought that he was trash. I want to give Brooke credit right here because I don't think he's gotten the credit he deserves. The first round table of the year. Before the first pitch of the regular season, he stood right here and said that he was going to be, that Tony Gonsolin was going to be the best number 4, number 5 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. And he's been one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, not just a number 4 or 5 guy. So got to give you credit there.
I take my payment in Zelle and Venmo.
Take that victory lap, baby.
Zelly.
So, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. And also, when you talk about who else would I want to see start, well, it would probably be Clayton Kershaw. We also know Clayton Kershaw would never take anything that he didn't feel he had earned on the mound. And he just wouldn't take that away from Tony Gonsolin. So, it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to see it. Catastic.
Catastic.
The time is meow.
The good news is there's a really good
He
chance
struck
it's a
me
Dodgers
out.
pitcher that's starting on All-Star game. On
I think at this point, it would be a shock for it not to be. But
I can't wait to see his cleats. I mean, he's probably just going to have 2 full-ass cats out there with spikes on them. Actual
Cat
cats.
slippers.
Straight up. It's probably going to be a violation somewhere with PETA.
PETA's
They're going to
not
be
gonna
after
be
his
happy,
ass. But no, it's going to be great to see him. It's one of the most shocking developments. Like, you ask one, I've had Dodger fans that,
always been high on Tony.
yeah. But you've been high on Tony.
Yeah.
But even, I don't. If it's the Gonsolin family out there, his girl, his parents, his family members, no way in their wildest dreams would they have thought that he'd be leading the league in ERA this deep into the season, and that he would be the starting
not
pitcher
expect
in the All-Star game. I mean, that's why I love baseball, man.
2 things. First of all, Gabriel Morales really wants us to know that the Dodgers need Connor, Joe, and Rogers. So maybe he can stop suggesting that now because
You said he had the show flow. You like the show flow.
That's
You did want Connor Joe a couple weeks ago.
I did. That is a dirty mullet. I mean, talk
that
about
what it
dirty
is?
mullets.
Yeah,
That thing
yeah.
is dirty, filthy. He got Brandon Crawford's hair regime down. I don't know what's going on there, Connor Joe.
It's
You're
like the only
really.
batter that Kershaw was having success with in Colorado. Get him out the nasty curveball.
What the hell was that?
That's the new trombone.
The
button.
new trombone is really freaking weird. Also, Gary A says Brooks been making a lot of sense lately. Me and Gary have not seen eye to eye on a lot of things.
Does this help? Does this help you though? Say something.
Yes.
Hello? I don't like that.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Oh, when you play with the new soundboard, things get real freaking weird, guys.
Been known to. We're getting a lot of Bauer comments in here. Somebody was I forget who. I saw it a few times. I think it was Trace Lamb talking about if we get Tony Gonslin on that Bauer arm care regimen.
Isn't that just driveline?
It's just drive line, and that's essentially what Tony's kind of already doing.
Driveline guy.
Yeah, it's
most
a driveline
most
thing.
Dodgers
He
guys
just
are
does-
driveline guys.
He doesn't do the wiggly stick.
because Rob
Yeah, because Rob. I mean, yeah, there's Rob Hill and the rest. I think there's more of them, right? Connor McGinnis is another one of those guys. Plus, Connor was one of the founders of the Clean Fuego. Another thing Tony's big on, Clean Fuego. Keep that true spin. I don't know how it helps the splitter, but it does.
We should try a Clean Fuego one time on video.
They're expensive.
Are they really?
Yeah, but
How
I'm
much?
down.
How many dollars?
I think like $40.
I don't have that many.
You would have if you mind your P's and Q's and don't pay for Jake Lamb fucking cameos.
Well, listen, you put alcohol in me, I'm probably going to get a cameo that's going to make someone laugh.
does
That's kind of my party trick, guys.
He does a lot of things
you
for
go.
some money. Speaking of money, Kevin Uhas, we appreciate you. $15 super chat. You were right about the great Catsby.
You were right.
That's some love. Let's give him this weird music.
It's the super chat music. Oh, yeah.
Feeling that
It's
right in
so-
the studio.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
It says music bed. I guess that's what
That's
you're
what
trying
I
to get
play
at.
when I
Yeah.
take somebody to bed.
somebody's mom.
Somebody's mom to bed.
The heart-shaped bed.
Roblox guy. He probably left.
Now we're back on the sticking with three good things.
Roblox mom.
We've also already talked a lot about this. There's a lot of guys that are coming back that are going to help this squad. Dustin May appears to be not that far. Isn't he starting a rehab this weekend or this week?
Facing hitters, still live hitters. The next step is rehab, which could be coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Going to happen.
Huge. Absolutely ginormous.
Blake Trinan threw off a mound today at Dodger Stadium. By
Yesterday,
all accounts, looked good.
He's alive. I don't know. I mean, the dude hasn't done anything. Has not done anything for a long time. So just an update to be like, hey, he's throwing off a mound.
He put Jesus on his shoulder, and it took a while to heal.
Yeah, he took
You know
the
what
wheel.
would have helped? Science. Danny Duffy's alive, they say, they claim.
Throwing 94 or whatever.
Is he
96?
throwing 95?
He was,
94, yeah,
he was
yeah.
hitting 94, yeah.
He was
Gotta
solid
love
in
that.
If he's
2021.
dotting 94, game
Who of
over.
those three guys are you most excited about? You.
Dustin May.
Attaboy.
Easily Dustin May. You know I'm a Dustin Maniac, baby. I can't wait to see him
A
back on the mound.
D-Maniac?
A D-Maniac, the flow, and also just, I'm telling you, he's absolutely filthy. And you look at the jump he made, strikeout rate from 2020 to 2021, pretty much almost from 18, 37%. I am throwing that four-seam fastball up in the zone. Kind of want to see how he looks on the mound without that sticky icky that a lot of the Dodgers pitchers were using on early on in the 2021 season. But
Only then, yes, only.
But Bauer brought his super sticky, and they were using that, and I can tell you they definitely were. But when it comes to Dustin May, that two-seam, the ground ball outs, what he learned in the 2020 postseason, and you can tell they have high hopes for him to come in and contribute right away. I think that's going to be the big, big X factor because if he can come in, give you 4 innings, and be a guy that his stuff plays up in the postseason. He's a guy that can miss bats, that can dominate hitters, also induce that soft contact. So, and we see with TJ sometimes, guy comes back and the velo is even up a tick. And I think that, hey man, he's an Elatrach guy. Got the best in the business. You know that he's been putting the work in the rehab, and he just wants to be back out there with his teammates. And you can see, I saw him in the clubhouse. I mean, he's got that fire in his eye. He's got that hunger to come back. And I think the fact that the Dodgers have dealt with these injuries to Walker Buehler, he kind of wants to come back and put that cape on his back and really take this team to a new level that late in the year into the postseason. But also Danny Duffy, I think it was funny what Anthony Keene said earlier. I need to see proof that he's a real person. Yeah, I know. He's just a myth, man.
He's been around.
He's like Bigfoot at this point, but he was fantastic in 2021 before he had that flexor strain issue.
Do you think Dustin May wins the Cy Young Award?
In his
At
career,
any point in his career?
No.
I have to say no. I think that violent release, I just don't
too
know if
much.
he can put 180 plus innings of work. I think he has the stuff. There's no question. Also, let's be honest, branding means something. And come on, man, he was a budding superstar emerging. The show flow, he's basically a regular on Pitching
was.
Ninja. So I definitely think that if he can put together a really nice season, he'll put him in the mix. But I just don't see him winning a Cy Young. It's so difficult.
The redheaded DeGrom over there, man.
I think eventually he's a Josh Hader type. He just moves into a
I've heard
closing
that.
role, a setup role, something
so they're
like
going to
that.
find some tweets.
that three-quarter, man.
Not like that. No. He's just going to be that three-quarter motion. He's going to be the
Three-quarter.
dude who just pumps in 100 miles an hour and just devastates dude in the late
Yeah,
innings.
here's a preview. Down the line, Dustin May and Bobby Miller coming out of that pen. Let's be honest.
And
Let's
maybe
be honest.
Ryan Pepio.
And Ryan Pepio, right?
Angel Gutierrez points out another one. Tommy Kahnle. We need Tommy Kahnle healthy. He's another guy who can add to this bullpen mix, and all of a sudden we're not worried. We're not hoping that the clock does not strike midnight with our beloved burrito, Reyes Moranta, which it,
He just went to AAA.
oh, did that happen?
That was the move, yeah.
Serving up dingers, man. It's unfortunate.
He's in Oklahoma City burrito now.
Well, all burritos, burrito lives matter. I'm just saying.
Oklahoma City ones especially. They probably put French fries in theirs.
It's California burrito, chief.
Yeah, but they probably do it too.
And at some point, because this is all pitchers, we got to talk about on offense. Eddie Rios could be a dude who can dong late in this season.
Late dongs?
Late dongs.
Late night dongs?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And if we get into late September, and you know what? Max Muncy's still batting a buck 60.
A butt
They
60.
can no longer. We are getting
was
into
intentional.
the how, and I'm doing this in the positive segment. How much longer we are knee deep in that. How much longer territory can they deal with a buck 60, Max Muncy?
But Clint, he hit a home run the other day.
Cool.
On Friday, he hit a home run, Clint.
Give me Jake Lamb.
And then went 0 for 7 or whatever.
It's fine, but not into September. Even into now. Again, we're getting into real questionable territory.
You're
there.
telling me Miguel Vargas can't hit 200?
Listen, I don't.
You're telling me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
I'm really not talking about Miguel Vargas on the
I'm talking about anybody.
GD show.
I'm talking about anybody that can play, man.
Jake
Jeez.
Lamb?
Jake Lamb can definitely hit over 200.
The ghost of Kevin Pillar's shoulder, bro.
The 600 BABIP Jake Lamb.
Now,
Yeah,
my
hey,
whole-
listen, that just means he's efficient, sir.
I don't think that's what that means.
Totally means he.
You're not gonna like this one.
Fully believes and hit it where they ain't.
Austin Meeker says trade Jake Lamb for used socks.
How do I block people from the chat? Looky here, Austin, with your weird looking eagle avatar. That's rude.
Is Avatar coming out soon?
I don't know. Ask the minions.
2023.
Minions.
What do we got?
That makes sense.
Oh, I turned him up.
Producer Cody's gonna. Look
He's got
that.
his thing up.
Is that movie gonna be ridiculously long too, to where I have to pee 3 times during the movie?
It's going to come out on December 16th of this year.
Avatar?
This year?
Yeah.
Not the last Airbender.
Avatar: The Way of Water is coming out December 16th, 2022.
The way of water sounds like Airbender, so that's where you're gonna get real confused.
Bendy
Two
A.
different avatars.
Airbendier.
Well, there you go.
Who watches movies?
I
Brooke
love
sold.
movies.
Hey man,
Yeah.
you had me sold on the Minions. I went
I
on
had a lot of people
YouTube.
wanna go.
I wasn't that big on the Minions, and talking to him, that really grew on me.
Grew.
Oh no, but seriously, I mean, look, despicable Kimbrel.
hate you.
No, but look, I mean, when you look at this team right now, you talk about Max Muncy and Justin Turner. JT and OPS over 1,000 in his last 16 games. You had the multi-home run game against Joe Musgrove that we discussed early on. But yeah, Max Muncy just continues to kind of just tread above water if basically around 200. But the numbers just aren't there. And I think that...
CT?
CT has a foot fracture.
Oh, are you
Yeah,
serious?
sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's a good thing they played
Wow.
God damn.
And that's, and it just kind of instant reaction to that is he had that elbow surgery in the offseason where they weren't even playing him in the infield because of
Yeah.
the arm angles.
He just bought a house,
Wow. Chris Taylor.
And
which
now
you're gonna have to make a video about, probably. By the way,
listen.
sorry.
You know what that means, baby? It's Jake Lamb season.
Rake
For
Lamb
real.
season.
For real.
Chris Taylor.
Do
yeah,
it-
it was
do it,
concerning
buddy.
because when you talk about swelling, like they were talking about,
Swollen
that's
sausage.
usually the the sign that wow, CT3. Good thing he was a durable player they gave that bag to. But no, that's a tough blow to this Dodgers team.
Things happen. We got Jake Lamb. But now, he got Jake Lamb, he got Trace Thompson, but I don't know much longer before a trade happens now.
Well, and you wonder too how much. I mean, he looked like he's been banged up all season long. That strikeout rate close to 40%. I mean, and that just comes with the territory. He's
not
a
looked
streaky
great, yeah.
player.
He's not looked super
He's had his.
great.
I
for
think
sure.
he's had like one home run since I want to say the June 1st, something like that. I mean, he just really kind of quietly has been struggling when you focus on JT and Max Muncy.
Muncy,
But yeah, that's a big blow because I mean now Gavin Lux is in a situation too where I mean they have to continue playing in the outfield. And Chris Taylor is a guy, Ock Taylor last year. Tonight on his bobblehead night to have that news drop when he became Ock Taylor and he hit the walk-off shot. It's a major bummer, but hey, Chris Taylor is a guy that kind of embodies kind of that grinder mentality that's why they wanted him back here on this Dodgers team.
Didn't he strike? There's no move yet. Didn't he strike out like 10 times in that series too?
Yeah,
he was not good in that series.
No, I mean, look,
bad.
When he changed his swing to get more pocket and get more slug, that was basically the sacrifice. You're going to get the swing and miss. That just kind of happened. It's just the nature of the beast with him. But yeah, I mean, he is that Swiss Army knife. He's so interchangeable. But I think that a lot of his value was diminished this year because you didn't see him in the infield as much. And he was just playing in the outfield spots. But then last week, we had the 96.3 throw where he throws out Grisham, his son, in that game. And I think that was just a big move. So yeah, I mean, he's that's just a big blow. I'm trying to
It happens. This is the time you want it. You don't want it in September, but when in Rome with that sort of thing. By the way, we got a $4.99 super chat on the YouTube from Dinos Bravo. This is a very important comment. He said, "Lemon character holding his hand in front of his mouth, grinning."
It didn't translate. Yeah, it doesn't actually put the emojis on there when they do that.
Yeah.
What's a lemon character?
Oh, this sounds like Gary's going to want me to make this video instead of the fractured foot, I bet.
Moving on. One last thing for the three good things, and I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's a thing, and we're going to talk about it. I've seen a few comments in here, so appreciate your patience on it. Austin Barnes heading towards rarefied air. He gets a 2-year contract extension and could be one of the longest tenured Dodgers catchers of all time. Is that wild to think of, that the captain, Austin Barnes, could be that dude?
Hey, put that C on his chest, all right? We need to have that already.
Don't like that, though.
Mookie needs to ride it on his shin guards, on his cleats. And look, he's been with the Dodgers for 8 years already. And he was the guy he was public enemy number one in the Dodgers Nation post-game show. They loved to slander Austin Barnes. And then he took Blake Snell's soul in Game 6 of the 2020 World Series. And that's really the hit you think about when you talk about Austin Barnes. But no, he's so important to this pitching staff, helping young pitchers develop. Guys love throwing to him, the way he's able to get that strike at the bottom of the zone. And I think when you talk about a 1-2 punch, Will Smith and Austin Barnes, that's the best catching duo in all of Major League Baseball. And there's no question about it. So bringing him back into the fold, a little over $3.5 million per season for so $7 million deal. I think it's a great to have him back because he's a leader in this clubhouse and his teammates love him, and he does bring that edge.
You don't need slug, you don't need pop, you don't need a lot of on base from your backup catcher. You need somebody who could command your pitching staff, who, in my opinion, was a massive reason why the Dodgers were able to come back and win and stay alive in the 2020 postseason and win that World Series, because he was able to navigate the pitching staff, a younger pitching staff, through some tough situations. Walker Buehler called him out as he's a reason he was able to get through a couple of those starts in the NLCS against the Braves. He gets it. He's an elite game caller, an elite receiver. Does not have the greatest arm in the world, but he commands a presence in that locker room, and you guys have seen it. You're in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mookie talks about how he'll say something funny, but you don't know whether to laugh or not because he's staring deep into your soul.
Didn't he mess with you about something a couple weeks ago?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I asked him. At the gala. Oh, the City Connects too. Yeah,
was that you? Or
I think that was
you?
him. But I think
it was really odd when I was like, "Hey, you wearing the City Connects?"
It's like, you mean the blue ones?
And he was
like an hour later.
He was like, "What?" And I was like, the City Connect uniforms. He's like, I don't know. Well, then I was just standing there talking to Claudia, and then he was like, "You mean the blue ones?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh," and then just left.
I thought you were talking about from the Blue
guy.
Diamond Gala. When I asked him, I said, "What would you be doing if you weren't a baseball player?" And he goes, "That's a bad question. I wouldn't be doing anything but play baseball. That's all I'd be doing is being a pro." I was like, "No, he's like, no, just baseball player." I was like, "Okay." I don't think he understood the nature of the question.
He did not want anything else to do but the baseball.
He left a bruise
cool,
on my
man.
arm just with the eye contact.
I like baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball. And it could be a future Dodger coach. Could be the next Mike Scioscia.
I could see that. I mean, he's intense. He's fiery. And you never know when he's going to have a big hit. I mean, last year, the big home running hit against the Giants. I mean, he has a clutch gene to him as well. Yeah. Goes up there. Sometimes he looks outmatched when he's not locked in, but more often than not, he'll go up there and give you a competitive at bat. Yes, he is a below average offensive player, but I think as a whole, it's a no-brainer signing. I think it's kind of funny that, if I said the Dodgers signed during the season, you would hope that I was talking about Trey Turner, right? But it ends up being Austin Barnes, and hey, hopefully he won't be the only in-season signing. We've had Blake Trinan, we've had Austin Barnes. Hopefully Trey Turner's next at the All-Star break at a press conference. I'm trying to manifest that. Hey, Trey.
So there's a comment here from Marco Beltran, which I hate, but I love it because it's just a perfect comment. Who's the Ryan Madsen type of grab for the Dodgers this year?
I forgot about Ryan Madsen.
I call him Dan Patrick.
Who's going to be the guy? What do you think is going to be that?
Tony Sengra. I mean, look, I think
Sean Doolittle. Where's Sean Doolittle at right now? Because it's always felt like Sean Doolittle is going to be a Dodger.
He's going to be a Dodger.
Yeah.
Robertson from the Cubs.
David Robertson. Daniel?
Yeah.
David.
It's tough,
David
but you
Robinson?
know that he has his eye. To me, it's
Hall
like
of Fame NBA center. David Robinson, skill, baby.
There's always gonna be
Give me
those
the
guys
captain.
that Friedman picks up, and it's the Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy? You know what I mean? And then you kind of do a little deep dive, and you kind of say, oh, he's this is how he does against lefties and righties. You see some of the spin and the velo. Okay, that's why they picked him up. I mean, there's going to be one of those guys, but I don't expect him to go out there and make a run at the Bednar types or any of these top end relievers because we just haven't seen it with Andrew Friedman.
Yeah, it's gonna be an odd boy. It's definitely gonna be an oddball one. Or would not be surprised to see Robertson and then. Sorry, Craig. Your time here is done, my dude.
Getting rid of Craig?
Craig.
Throwing him on Craigslist. Huh? I don't see that happening. I really don't.
Super chat from our boy 5150 Rams fan says parrot character jumping up and down saying #1 fan.
Hey, it's my man.
What is happening here?
It's when you send those gifts or
I
little
know,
like
it's a
sticker
5150 legit thinks I work for ESPN as a Dave Roberts apologist. He actually truly believes this. He's contacted me numerous times. Thinks I'm some ESPN shill for Dave Roberts, but
Are you not?
Yeah,
I know you are.
You're not getting paid?
Guys, Doc is the best manager of all time.
All right, two more quick topics before we get the hell out of here.
The winningest.
The new look lineup. We talked a little bit about this before in our pre-show Instagram live. Check us out every pre-show.
Well said.
The Dodgers have a new look lineup. They changed when Mookie came back. They changed the top of the order. Mookie batting leadoff. Trey moves to that #2 spots, and Freddie moves down to third. And you got Will back in the catcher position. I want to hear again for these fine people. What are your thoughts on this new 1 through 4? We can really say. I mean, it's mainly the 1 through 3, but the new look top of the order.
I like it. I really do. I mean, they've gone 7 of 15 so far. Mookie and Trey at the top of that lineup with four doubles combined. And then you also consider the fact you have Gavin Lux at the bottom of the lineup, 3 speedsters, the 9 in the 1 and the 2 spot. And I always want to see Trey Turner batting ahead of Freddie Freeman, a guy that has good bat-to-ball skills, a guy that in the last month has led the team in OPS, and he's starting to slug at really an elite level for Freddie Freeman. So we saw the slug was down for Freddie. Now it's up. And I just really like the idea of 2 guys that can get on base, they can wreak havoc on the base pass, they can score runs as long as Dino Ebel isn't making that send to Mookie Betts. But I think with Trey Turner ahead of Freddie Freeman, I just like it. It gives me a real Shaq and Kobe vibe, a 1-2 punch. And we saw the success that the Dodgers had with Mookie Betts and Corey Seager. Well, I think Trey Turner is on another level than Corey Seager in the 2 hole. So I like it.
The thing I have the trouble with is, I mean, Freddie's been so good in that 2 hole all season long. He is that perfect #2 hitter in his ability to get on base, move the ball, drive people in, pitches of action, making something happen. You have Mookie on first or second, and you get him over. Worst comes to worst, and then Trey drives him in. Or if it's the other way around, Trey's on second. You find that way to have Mookie drive him in. I personally would have left the top 2 the way they had been while Mookie was out, and put Mookie Betts in third. But what's your take?
You know what I really like about this new lineup? Freddie Freeman is not batting ahead of 2 guys that I can outrun him backwards. That's the biggest part about this. I mean, honestly, there's a lot to that. You look at the lineup and the way it's been constructed. Like, if you were to bat Mookie behind Freddie, maybe it makes a little more sense. But batting Trey behind Mookie, I mean, that's a dude that could probably one-legged beat Freddie in a race, to be honest with you. So it's kind of a weird setup. Obviously, 90 feet makes a big difference. People will argue that. Coaches will tell you that, but still something to it when you can't outrun the guy in front of you, when you can't get stretch something into a double because a guy can't get to third or something like that. I like it. I like the setup. I like the way they're going to do things.
Also, when you consider, too, that
weird.
Mookie's figured out how to hit lefties again, having success
All
against
of a
lefties
sudden.
this season, and then Trey Turner, he's had more success against righties, and throughout his career, 79% of his home runs come against right-handed pitchers. So you kind of get those reverse splits, and I just think it's a great 1-2-3 right there, and I think that you make the best point. It's about speed on the base pass, and they really haven't even hit their stride. I mean, they've had success when you look at individual numbers, but when you talk about team scoring as a whole, it hasn't really materialized with that new lineup change. But I just think that you got Lux, you got Mookie, you got Gavin. You keep Mookie Betts, the franchise player, happy. We know that Mookie, he's made it clear he wants to hit leadoff. And then Trey Turner, you give him a little bit of a different role in the 2-hole, and I just think that really just kind of levels that lineup up.
Do you guys think this is the lineup we see through the rest of the season, at least the top 3, provided everybody's healthy?
If everybody stays healthy, I mean, things would have to go pretty bad for them to get away
Change
from
it
it
up.
now that
Yeah.
they've done it. Yeah. Seems like one of those things.
Dave really, really, really likes to wait his long-ass time to change these lineups. And he claims he got the input of guys. I think the last time he said he talked to dudes about things was, kind of bullshit. But,
I think it
Dave
depends.
loves his eye wash or his ear wash to the media.
He's very stubborn about
Respectfully.
changing anything,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Push has to come to shove. But I think the big question is, will Muncy ever figure it out? In my opinion, I root hard for Max Muncy. He's a baseball junkie. He's going to put in the work to get his swing back and to try to get that power back. But if JT and Muncy can be consistent, and really this is a move to kind of supplement that in a way. And I think if you find a way to if Muncy can turn around, you put him in that cleanup hole and have Will Smith in the 3 spot. But I just think that's too much of a big if right now to say, hey, is Muncy going to figure it out? Because let's not forget about Will Smith and all this either.
Who has the best chance of turning their season around after the All-Star break? What do you guys think is going to be? JT, is it Belly or be Muncy? What do you got?
I think it has to be JT. If you look at his track record, you look at from a pure hitter standpoint, I feel like it has to be JT. He's already kind of turning it around. He's already putting bat on ball way more often than he has in the past couple of months. He's making us eat our own words, which I'm very happy about. We'll gladly take that every single time. But
Cringe.
in terms of overall swings and history of success and track record and things like that, I think it has to be JT.
I'm with you, Brooke. I trust the bat-to-ball skills of Justin Turner. The fact that we've already seen a nice stretch from him, like I said, 16 games, OPS over 1,000, second behind just Freddie Freeman. But Max Muncy, my big fear is, look, even 2020, he hit 12 dingers, but at the plate, he was behind a lot of fastballs, not getting on top of those heaters. Last year, it almost
That was
feels
another
like
injury season, too. I mean, he had the broken hand
absolutely,
in
the broken
summer
hand.
camp. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. It's going to be JT.
He was batting leadoff in that season. Yeah.
That was that was when we first got Mookie too.
Yeah.
I agree. JT has the best likelihood of being that guy. Who it needs to be is Cody F. and Bellinger. Cody needs to be. Give me 2018 Cody, and we'll have a freaking scary lineup. But I don't think we're ever going to see that.
But this is the thing. JT will have the better second half, but Belly will have like 4 memorable hits. He'll have like a couple walk-offs, and he'll get a single that'll extend a game that will allow the Dodgers to come back. He'll get that walk-off shot like we saw, or the game-tying shot, the equalizer in Game 3 of the NLCS. So he really has this ability to come up big in big moments. So for the Belly Evers out there, look, let's not sell all our stock in Cody Bellinger.
Or that shirt back.
It's a great shirt.
Anyway,
I didn't even know we had that as a shirt. We did.
Yeah, we
did. But when it comes to Cody Bellinger, I mean, look, right when you want to give up on him, he'll lace a double. Right when you want to give up on him, he'll leave the yard. And I think his defense actually has kind of turned it around, too. I mean, I think the real ones realize that he was slipping a little bit when it comes to defense, when it comes to range and kind of jumps.
I mean, he had the leg and then the hamstrings
And he's
last
back.
year. And, he's good. I think the sprint speed is right back up to career norms
I wanna
before
say-
21. But
yeah, and with Chris Taylor going down, they're going to need him.
Think of Cody. Second half 2019 Cody in this lineup. This would be a dumb lineup.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of
and buts
if.
were candy and nuts. I don't know the rest of the
Your
thing.
mom.
Your mom.
Swelling Sausage throws $1.99 super chat our way. Says if they get all the best players, Doc could win it. And maybe not. Quickly moving on. We got 2 more as of the time we were recording this. We got 2 more against the Rockies, and then the Cubs come to town for a 4-game set. Is it a 4-game set?
Let's not get team no hit this time, please.
I was at that game. Oh wait, no, I was at the Jake Arrieta game. Anyway, we talked. They gave away some really shitty headphones too. We still have them.
Oh wow.
I think you already said Dodgers are going to sweep Rockies. What do you think happens in the Cubs series?
I mean, this Cubs team is. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the National League. One of those 6 teams that just are truly not contenders. But I could easily see 3 out of 4. There's no question about it. I actually think the Dodgers, I mean, they could drop one to the Rockies too because baseball is going to baseball. But we haven't seen that Braves-like streak from the Dodgers this year yet. So maybe this is the time where, look, you took that. That was a big confidence booster because, look, we could be sitting here today and the Dodgers could be 2.5 games back of the Padres. Instead, they took care of their business. They were close to sweeping the Padres for the first time in a 4-game series in a very long time since 2009. Chad Billingsley was starting that game, but I think they go take 3 or 4 from the Cubs, and I think they sweep the Rockies. I'm just gonna put that out there. I think Pepio raises his trade value today.
What are you thinking over there, Chief?
Still think they sweep the Rockies. I think I stuck with that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. It was pre-show.
Cubbies. I got no worries about them Cubbies.
They face.
I hope Wilson Contreras just shits the bed all weekend, though. That'd be great.
They face the Dodgers throw out all-star game starter Tony Gonslin in Game 1, so that'll be nice.
Woo!
My boy,
Another statement.
Anthony Gonsolin.
Last time they played the Cubs, I was in Chicago watching Kershaw throw 7 shutout innings, only to be tapped on the shoulder by a large Chicago Cubs fan in a bar that said he's washed. I was like, that wash guy just threw 7 shutty.
What happened?
And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that to that guy.
That is a large boy right there.
These chairs are breaky today.
Sweep them all. Why not? That's
Sweep
what I'm
them.
going for. Just sweep them all.
Clean sweep.
Sweep all the way through, then sweep Anaheim, F them in the A.
Anaheim.
I really want to get one of those Cubs flags that looks like the W, but it's an L, and have our flags raise the L every time we beat them. You know what I'm saying?
Space up
That's
there.
real Houston
Yeah.
Asterix energy.
That's Hey man, I'm not above that kind of pettiness, really.
Robert Baker gets it, wins, and ERA still matter. I'm going to make that a shirt.
Sounds like he votes for the Cy Young Award.
Or the All-Star game starter for as long as we've been alive, or as long as it's been in existence.
First pitch coming up in about 15, 25 minutes. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Wins
We
and
appreciate you here on the Blue Haven episode 1 billion and trillion and whatever it is. Find us on the internet at DodgersNation.com. Subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're watching, YouTube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hit the like, hit the bell, leave a comment, tell your mom.
You can't steal the mom jokes before it gets.
Why
to the
can't
mom.
they
You
tell
can't
their
see the
mom?
guys? I'm at BrookMe3. He's at Real FRG. He's Doug everywhere, all over the internet. His name is Doug. We are at Dodgers Nation on Twitter and Instagram. It's actually at DMAC_LA. In case you didn't already know that.
At
I'm
Doug's Try
assuming
It.
that
Who
you
knows?
guys know.
What about Eric?
At
At
EEULAU. I did it, Eric. Yay!
Go follow Eric, man.
Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. That is a long
Way longer.
applause. A way long applause. Roblox kid,
I didn't breathe the
I'm
whole
coming
show.
over.
See you guys next Monday. Ooh, that's cool. I didn't breathe the whole show.
Think blue, bleed blue, and we out.
Peace.